Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and become one of our friends on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Detectives. Our listener support campaign continues. You can become one of our ongoing Patreon supporters for as little as $2 per month at patreon.greatdetectives.net. However, today our focus is on one-time donations. And I want to thank those who sent along one-time donations to support.greatdetectives.net. I want to thank Lewis for sending along a one-time donation through support.greatdetectives.net. You can also use the Zelle app to send to box13@greatdetectives.net or by mail to Adam Graham, P.O. Box 15913. That's 15913, Boise, Idaho 83715. And I also want to thank folks who sent along donations to our P.O. Box, Adam Graham, P.O. Box 15913, 15913, Boise, Idaho 83715. Thank you to Angela, to Francis, and to Gary. Thank you so much for your support. If you send along a one-time donation, you can request one of the ebooks I've listed at support.greatdetectives.net, including All I Needed to Know I Learned from Dragnet and All I Needed to Know I Learned from Columbo, as well as my novel Slime Incorporated. Also, with a donation of $100 or more, we'll happily send you either Poirot's Finest Cases or more Poirot's Finest Cases. Also, if you're in the U.S. or Canada and you send along a donation of $100 or more, I'll be happy to send you one of our Great Detectives of Old Time Radio t-shirts. We have the regular Great Detectives t-shirt, and we also have our Johnny Dollar 70th Anniversary t-shirt and our Joe Friday Never Said Just the Facts Ma'am t-shirt. And all of those available with a donation of $100 or more. A full list of available items are at support.greatdetectives.net. Well, now it's time for us to bring you an episode of the New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And this is an episode that fills a small gap because this was from a time when most of the Sherlock Holmes episodes are circulating. There were periods, there's just a handful of the pre-Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes episodes out there, and about 90% of the Rathbone-Bruce episodes during World War II are not in circulation. However, the post-war seasons were pretty good. And prior to this past year, there were only 2 episodes in the 4 seasons, with each season being 39 episodes that were missing. So there were 154 out of 156 episodes in circulation. Well, with today's episode, there are 155 out of 156. As this is the only missing episode from the John Stanley run, which originated from New York, or Clippercraft Close. This was towards the end of the 1947-48 radio season. Original air date April 25th, 1948, and this is the return of the Jack of Diamonds.
From New York City, the makers of Clippercraft Clothes for Men and more than 1,200 leading retail stores from coast to coast present Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's immortal character, the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. Tonight's story, The Return of the Jack of Diamonds. Well, hello, Dr. Watson. Seems like today spring is really here. All the windows open, why, you can just smell things growing.
This is just possible. Part of that aroma comes from the crushed mint in the glasses on this tray. Here, help yourself, Mr. Harris. I thought the weather called for something long and tall and frosty.
Well, thank you. I must say this is a pleasant surprise, Doctor.
Yes, I also thought tonight's story might appropriately be, what did you call it, a chiller diller. So I decided I'd tell you about a ghostly highwayman who returned after many centuries to hold up a stagecoach on Hampstead Heath. It was one of those eerie...
Hey there, Dr. Watson. Whoa, slow down a minute now. Don't forget we're supposed to just sort of mention something else that's kind of appropriate this bird of the season.
But I do, of course. You mean Clippercroft's lightweight spring and summer clothing. I have my eye on a certain new tan outfit myself.
At the rate you're buying new suits, Dr. Watson, you wouldn't be planning a trousseau.
No, but at the rate Clippercroft charges, I can finally afford all the clothes I'd like to have.
All right, you are, Dr. Watson. The Clippercraft plan makes it unnecessary for you to pay high prices for clothes of high quality. We've built one of the great names of America by sticking to our guns, by insisting that you get the world's most outstanding value in every Clippercraft you buy. All this, despite rising costs of manufacturing materials and labor. Now, many have asked, how do they do it? Well, the famous Clippercraft plan is the answer, concentrating the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast. A carefully planned operation that makes you the gainer by ensuring distribution and manufacturing savings the whole year round. That's why you can buy beautifully tailored Clippercraft suits for only $40 and $45. Top coats in fine coverts and worsted gabardine for only $40 and $45. Smart tropicals, only $33.75 to $40. And sport jackets for only $26.50. Only comparison will prove what this means in money saved on your spring clothing budget. Yes, compare Clippercraft with clothes selling for many dollars more. And now back to our chiller-diller, Dr. Watson, and the highwayman who appeared on Hampstead Heath.
Let me see. It was one evening in the latter part of June. Holmes and I were celebrating a decidedly rare event.
Which was?
Just the previous day, I had picked myself a winner. The race was the Gold Cup at Ascot. The horse was a filly named Fabulous Fanny. And Holmes and I were having a bit of a celebration at Jack Straw's Castle, which is an old coaching inn which still exists on Hampstead Heath.
Look, isn't that the tavern Dickens frequented and wrote about?
It is indeed. Well, Holmes and I were sitting in the courtyard over our after-dinner brandy. We were watching the daylight fade and the lights of London come twinkling on in the hazy distance below. The pleasant aroma of two excellent cigars flowed around us in a delicate smoky nimbus. Oh, who would believe that such a completely bucolic, not to say wild and rustic spot, should lie so close to a great metropolis? Oh, you might almost believe you were on some deserted heath in the North Country.
Well, actually, Hampstead Heath, my dear Watson, is a public area of approximately 869 undulating acres. The flagstaff on a hill immediately ahead marks the highest point on the heath, 445 feet above sea level, to be exact. It commands a view which includes 10 counties. Hello, who's this coming across the courtyard in our direction? What? Carrying a smallish piece of paper in his hand. Yes, the hand shaking. Wonder what ails him.
Oh, probably palsy. It's mine host who took our order. The slip of paper's probably our bill, and I do think he might have let us quietly sit for a moment.
No, I hardly think that paper's our bill. There's nothing about that to occasion his worried frown and improperly buttoned waistcoat. The third button's in the fourth buttonhole.
So it is, by Jove, I never even saw it.
You saw it right enough, my dear Watson. You merely didn't notice.
Pardon me, but they've just informed me that one of you gentlemen is Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the detective.
And my friend has that distinction.
Oh, sir, I wonder if you could help me. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know whether I should warn Sir Harry and get myself dressed down proper for being a ninny, or whether I should let him ride across the heath to his death, maybe.
Tossed on the horns of a dilemma, eh?
Yes, sir, at least. I'm all of a dither, if that's what you mean.
What exactly has caused this perturbation?
Well, sir, it was last night. We was closing up a bit late. It was after midnight when me and old Timothy made the round, locking the doors and making sure the windows were shut tight.
Sensible precaution, eh, Holmes?
Don't interrupt, Watson.
I'd just blown out the lamp in the bar when suddenly I felt Timothy freeze onto my arm like a woman that felt a mouse run over her foot. He was so scared he could hardly speak. Just pointed out the bay window. I looked, and there I saw a man ride into the courtyard like the devil was after him. Horse and rider was both black as night, and the horse's hoofs struck sparks from the cobblestone.
Not an unusual phenomenon.
Yes, sir, but it wasn't the sparks that set Timothy's teeth to scattering. It was the way the man was dressed. We got a good look at him when he drew rein at the old well and come a-striding up the porch.
Oh, sir, look at him. He's got boots above his knees and a back cape clear down to the ground and a big hat with a feather in it. And he's carrying a lantern. No, he's coming this way.
No, he stopped at the top step of the porch. He's hammering something to one of the posts.
Something about him makes my blood run cold.
Now he's raising his lantern to look at his handiwork. The light shines in his eyes. Good Lord, he's wearing a mask.
Never mind the mask. Look at the lantern. It's a human skull. No, heaven help us. It's Jack-o'-lantern himself. Come back to haunt us.
And with that, Mr. Holmes, he strolled back to his horse and rode off into the night.
Who in thunder is Jack-o'-lantern?
My dear Watson, Jack-o'-lantern was a notorious highwayman who held up mail coaches and the like on Hampstead Heath of the late 17th century. A human skull with a bit of tallow candle inside was his trademark.
That's right, Mr. Holmes. They finally caught him red-handed, they did, and hung him high on a divot on Flagstaff Hill there. Hung him there and left him till his bones rotted.
How jolly.
Yes, sir. And now they say you can still hear his hoofs come pounding along the high road whenever there's a death on the heath.
Ever seen or heard this apparition before?
Seen him? No, sir. This was the first time ever. But heard him? Well, maybe sometimes I have when the wind howls across the heath. There's plenty of things to be heard on the heath at night, Mr. Holmes.
Any idea why he came in here and hammered on the pillar of your porch?
Oh, yes, sir. He was nailing up a message. This paper. If you step over into the light of this window, you can read what it says.
Interesting. Paper is an ancient bit of parchment, right enough. Script and language also in character.
Never mind the deductions, Holmes. What does it say?
Let no coach cross the heath this fortnight, lest its passenger forfeit his heart's desire. There's no signature.
No, sir, but this here was fixed with the same nail, like it was a sort of calling card.
Righto. Jack of diamonds. Jack-o'-lantern left the Jack of diamonds as identification, eh, Holmes?
That could be its significance, Watson. What's this coat of arms on the back of the card?
Oh, that's Sir Harry Pleveridge's coat of arms. He was knighted year before last. He bought the Marbury mansion that's up the Spaniards Road, past the inn they call the Spaniards. The Marburys have all died off, so he took over their coat of arms as well.
Yes, the design is interesting, not to say instructive. I should enjoy examining the rest of the pack.
You'd have to go to Marbury Mansion for that, Mr. Holmes. They do say he's got that coat of arms all over the place. On the silver and the linen, and even on the butter patty.
I see. You think Sir Harry would be at home tonight if Dr. Watson and I were to pay him a call?
Oh, no, sir. He'll not be getting back from Ascot till late tonight. Always drives to the races in that old coach and four he bought off the Kenwood estate.
Well, by Jove, of course, Sir Harry Pleveridge. I was wondering why that name sounded familiar. Oh, Mr. Harry Pleveridge is the owner of the horse I bet on.
That's right, sir. Won the Gold Cup, and he did. This is the first winner he's had. And to think it should be Mr. Devitt's prize racehorse. Her that he loved almost as much as he loved Sir Harry's daughter. It broke his heart when he lost it. He was drunk for 3 days after it happened.
You say he'd lost the horse? That's exactly what you mean.
At cards he lost it. Sir Harry do like his game of physique, and any young man that comes a courting the Lady Alice has to play cards with her father. It's an expensive pastime, courting Lady Alice.
I take it Sir Harry's luck is generally good.
Good, Mr. Holmes. It couldn't be better if he'd sold his soul to the devil.
I take it, what was his name?
Johnny Devitt, sir. He owns Devitt House. It's down the other way, North End Road, a mile past the Bull and Bush.
I take it young Devitt's luck wasn't so good.
Oh, no, sir. He lost everything he could lay hands on to Sir Harry. Luckily, the estate is entailed, or he'd have lost David House as well. None of us thought he'd ever wait a penny, though. Oh, I guess he must have been gone on Lady Ellie's, all right.
Did she return the compliment?
They say she did, but she's pretty much under her father's thumb. And now that Johnny David's been forbidden the house, her father's gone and announced her engagement to a French Viscount or something.
Forbidden the house?
Yes, sir. The last time Johnny David was at Marbley Mansion playing physique with Sir Harry, it ended in a frightful row. Sir Harry had Mr. David shown to the door, and then he locked up his cards in the desk in the gun room and hasn't played it.
I see. How many coaches crossed the Heath in a fortnight?
Why, there ain't any in use in these parts anymore but Sir Harry's, Mr. Holmes. And that only when he drives off to some big shindy.
Oh, then the message was obviously meant for him, Holmes?
Hello. There comes a large lumbering conveyance up Heath Street now.
That will be Sir Harry's coach and horse. Oh, dear. How will I ever break it to him that a ghost has left him a letter?
Suppose you let me tell him the bad news.
With pleasure, Mr. Holmes, sir. If you'll excuse me, I'd best go and get out my pincer mug. Sir Harry always stops for his mug of ale, and he won't bring out nothing but shit.
Just because Sir Harry's conveyance as it comes swooping along the road, Holmes. I must say, there's something dashed elegant about a coachman for. Even the old coaching horn.
Yes. I was just considering the road he must take to reach his so-called mansion. Jack Straw's castle, as this tavern's called, is rather strategically situated, Watson. For at this point, the main road divides. The left-hand branch, called Spaniard's Road, which is the one he must take, crosses the most desolate part of the Heath. It's also over rising ground, which means the progress of the coach will be slowed down.
Well, obviously.
North End Road, on the other hand, which is the other branch, goes to the right over gradually falling ground. Pity he can't take that one.
Oh, but it would be considerably out of his way. There's no connecting road you can drive a coach over.
Put the situation in a nutshell, Watson. Here comes Sir Harry.
Welcome, Sir Harry, welcome. Will you step inside and refresh yourself?
Wash down this confounded dust if there's something fit to drink. Come along, Ellis. Bring your fiancé with you.
But they cannot sing. She seems to share.
You'd better learn.
Hello. Here comes another customer. A horseman riding up the North End Road. He's hell on leather, as they say in the States.
You don't suppose he's...
The notorious jack-o'-lantern? Calm yourself, Watson. His costume is quite up to date.
Father, wait a minute. Please, someone's riding up the road. I think it's...
If it's that young scoundrel Devitt, I forbid you to speak to him. I will take her in the house.
But, Father...
Do as I say.
Come along, Harry.
Ah, Sir Harry. They said you were expected.
Well, here I am, Devitt. What do you want?
My horse. I want to buy Fanny back. I got the money, pawned everything I had to bet on her, and I won. I got the £100 right here. You said I could have her back if I paid the money I lost.
My dear boy, that was before she won the cup. £100? She's worth 20 times that to me now. No, you'll never be able to buy her back, I'm afraid. But if you like, I'll let you see the cup she won for me.
You go to the devil.
No love lost between them, Holmes?
Quiet. Sir Harry's coming over here.
Now then, you there with the tall, spindly legs standing by the window. I understand some fantastic character is supposed to have nailed a message for me to the doorpost.
Right. Here it is, Sir Harry.
Let's have a look.
The parchment is of the proper vintage. So is the script.
And the fellow was dressed like a certain famous highwayman, complete the mask and the skull lantern.
Gentlemen, it takes more than a Halloween masquerade to frighten Harry Blevins.
All the same, I wouldn't advise you to cross the Heath tonight.
Save your advice, sir. I've never paid any heed to anonymous messages.
This message was not unsigned, Sir Harry. The horseman left a card to identify himself.
It's his card, eh?
I said a card, not his card. It was the knave of diamonds, commonly called the Jack.
Jack?
Yes.
Jack of diamonds, did you say?
Does that mean anything to you, Sir Harry?
No. No, of course not. Well, why should it? Ridiculous, sir. Want to drink? Where is my drink?
Sir Harry needs a drink. Why do you suppose he got so upset when you mentioned the Jack of Diamonds?
I'm not sure, Watson, but I have a rather definite suspicion. Yes, I saw 2 bicycles just outside the kitchen entrance. Wonder if our innkeeper could persuade the staff to let us borrow them.
Oh, why bicycles this time of night?
I think a ride on the Heath is indicated, Watson. Yes, if we're lucky, we may just possibly be witness to an old-fashioned hold-up.
insist on Clippercraft clothes, you're protected all along the way. You're buying truly fine clothes for considerably less money than you ever believed possible. Miracle? No, it's just American manufacturing ingenuity, combined with good old-fashioned common sense. Clippercraft's remarkable values are the result of the unique Clippercraft plan, the plan that concentrates the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast, and makes values like these available in your own favorite local store, the store you can trust. Here they are. Superbly tailored Clippercraft suits for only $40 and $45. Top coats in fine covert and worsted gabardine for only $40 and $45. Sport jackets for only $26.50, and smart tropicals for only $33.75 to $40. Yes, selling expensive clothes at inexpensive low prices at the nation's finest stores is the great big idea behind the Clippercraft plan. That's why men who know insist on Clippercraft clothes. So be sure to visit the Clippercraft store in your city.
These leading stores in the metropolitan area are proud to add their names to Clippercraft in your suits, top coats, sport jackets, and tropicals. In Manhattan, John Wanamaker Men's Stores, Broadway at 8th and 67 Liberty Street. Saks 34th, Broadway at 34th. In Brooklyn, Abraham and Strauss. In Newark, New Jersey, Boulevard Men's Shop, Kresge Newark. And in Jamaica, the B&B Clothes Shop, 16408 Jamaica Avenue.
And now back to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, who are bicycling along a moonlit road. The going is not too smooth.
Oh, why is it cycling always seems to be up two hills every one you go down?
Save your breath, Watson, till we reach the top of the next rise.
Oh, I don't know how you manage, Holmes. Confound it, I always have to get up and walk the silly thing up the last few yards.
Too much avoirdupois and too little leg muscle, Watson. Yes, this is the best spot for the show, I imagine. The road falls away on both sides. Yeah, let me hide the bicycle behind the bushes. No, not in the bushes, Watson, behind. We may want to use them again in a hurry.
Say, look, someone's riding down the road to meet us.
Quick, Watson, down behind his hedge.
He's coming like a bat out of hell.
He has to, Watson. He expects to keep his rendezvous. Yes. Now he's reined in his horse. He's waiting in the shadow of that large tree. He's putting on his cloak. A large plumed hat. Now the mask.
Holmes, you have eyes like a cat. I can't see a clear thing in this shadow.
Let's look at that.
Is that a lantern? Oh, it's a skull. And his jack-o'-lantern.
Or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Yes, look down the road in the other direction. Here come the rest of the dramatis personae being brought to the scene of our little drama in Sir Harry's coat.
Holmes, that man's the lantern. Aren't you going to stop him?
Stop him from what, Watson? If you look closely, you'll notice he has two ancient but nonetheless effective pistols in his belt. I have no desire to stop a 17th century leaden bullet.
Here comes the coach up the hill.
Yes. It's slowing down. Yes, my guess was correct. This spot should prove better than a stage box.
The man with the lantern. He's coming out of the shadow. He's riding to meet the coach.
Halt, or I fire!
He's grabbed the lead horse by the bridle.
Halt, I say! That's better. Now then, Sir Harry, you'll step down out of that coach and bring the gold trophy with you. No, leave the lady behind.
Look out, this is robbery.
It's not so amusing when one is the victim, eh, Sir Harry?
But this is outrageous.
Shut up, you idiot. Don't stand between me and this cup. You value your health.
No, I did not realize she was hiding behind me. Do not point that pistol at me. It might go off. I am making the carry.
Now then, Sir Harry, the cup.
Here it is in this box. Confound it.
You'll open the lid so I can see inside. Very well. There. Wait till I turn my lantern round. Yes, that's it, right enough.
Jack! It's Jack!
Confound it, give me the cup.
Oh, Sir Harry's been shot. You'd better go to his assistance.
Nonsense, Watson. The old boy's not hurt, just frightened. He fell flat on the ground where the pistol went off by mistake. Yes, I think our young highwayman was feeling rather more nervous than he let on.
And now he's gone back up the road toward the Spaniard's Inn.
Yes, the other way would have been quicker, of course, but at least he had the good sense to keep up the farce.
Holmes, what are you blithering about?
No time for explanations, Watson. He hauled Sir Harry back into the carriage. Now they're driving off up the road. Hurry, Watson. Get out the bicycles. We must recover the gold trophy cup before it's too late.
But confound it, Holmes, you deliberately let the man get away. At the rate he was riding, we'll never catch up with him.
On the contrary, Watson, by pedaling like mad back in the direction we came from, we may just possibly head him off.
Oh, another rut. Oh, Holmes, this North End road is as uneven as the other.
Cheer up, Watson. We've reached our destination. Here's the gate to Mr. Devitt's estate. Yes, I think we'll go the rest of the way on foot.
Oh, very well. As a matter of fact, walking will be a pleasant change.
Devitt's house is dark.
Naturally, young Devitt returned home hours ago.
Ah, but did he stay home?
Dear Holmes, you don't by any chance suspect that young Mr. Devitt is jack-o'-lantern? Quite preposterous.
Why?
Well, for one thing, you saw him ride away from Jackstraws Castle down this road. And where did the highwayman appear from? From beyond the Spaniards Inn on the other road. And he was coming towards us. The two roads are almost at right angles to each other, and there's no connecting road between them.
A clever horseman can make his way along a footpath, Watson. There's a little known footpath across the Heath, which runs between the Bull and Bush Inn and the Spaniard's Tavern. Yes, the house is dark now. There's a light over there under the stable door. Quiet. Light on the stable just on out. Someone's opening the door. There he comes.
Never prove a key holder. Carrying a large competitive sound.
It's a bird cage, Watson. Good evening, Mr. Devitt. Isn't it rather late in the evening to be indulging your interest in ornithology?
Who in blazes are you? Why are you trespassing on my property?
Allow me to present myself. I am Sherlock Holmes. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
What's that got to do with me?
We've come to relieve you of tonight's duty.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My dear Mr. Devitt, your own disguise was very neat. But don't you think it was rather stupid of you not to disguise your horse? Even the Lady Alice recognized him when your lantern shone on his white forefoot. I rather think you realized the jig was up when she called you by name. The rest of your intimates may call you John or Johnny. But the Lady Alice, you'll always be Jack. Right?
So she left the cat out of the bag. Well, I'm not going to give him back his stupid cut. It's mine by rights. He didn't win my horse fairly honestly, Mr. Holmes. I realized it later.
He plays physique with marked cards, eh? Hence the Jack of Diamonds.
That's right.
Just the same, I think it would be wise to let me return the cup.
Never. I'll never give it back to him.
Not if he agrees to give you something you want in return. Say your horse or his daughter.
You don't know him. He'll never do that.
You might be surprised at my persuasive power, David. Yes, I suggest Dr. Watson and I pay a call on the gentleman after breakfast tomorrow and take along that birdcage.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, the butler just told me you've come to see Father about the missing gold cup.
Yes, Lady Alice, I think we can promise to recover it for him.
Oh, but please, you mustn't. He mustn't ever know who took it. Mr. Holmes, I just can't bear it if anything happens to...
Mr. Jack? I mean, Jack-o'-lantern, of course. Or should we say Jack-o'-diamonds? I have here a solitaire in things with fit upon a finger.
Oh, Mr. Holmes. Oh, I want him so much. I can't accept it.
Oh, fiddle-faddle, just put it on and leave the rest to Sherlock Holmes.
What's going on here? They tell me you're Sherlock Holmes.
Quite. Dr. Watson and I have come this morning to interest you in a bird. A lovely golden bird. It's here in this cage.
Bird?
Yes.
Whose hated bird? They squawk.
Not this one. Its name is Jack. Jack-o'-diamond, shall we say.
I don't know what you're talking about. Can I take a look at the animal?
In the gun room.
Very well. Very well, this way. In here.
After you, Sir Harry. That's better. Now that we're alone, Watson, I think you may uncover the bird cage.
Right, here we are. Jolly little golden canary, eh, Sir Harry?
It's the cup. Yes, the cup. Where did you find it?
Dr. Watson and I are returning it to you with the compliments of Mr. John Devitt.
Oh, thinks he can soften me up, does he? Well, he can think again.
I have here another little token of Mr. Devitt's esteem. The knave of diamonds with your coat of arms on the back. A marked card. Notice the third leaf here on this trefoil.
He did it. He took it away with him the last time he was here. He had plenty of time and opportunity to do anything he pleases to that card.
Possibly, but he couldn't have marked the other knave and the two queens of spades, which, unless I'm very much mistaken, are in the locked upper drawer of that desk. Will you unlock it, Sir Harry? Or shall I have Dr. Watson take it over?
You win, Mr. Holmes.
Well, I do like to play cards, and I do like to win.
It's a habit I suggest you give up from now on. And as regards the horse, Fanny.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Holmes. After all, I didn't tell the lad he could buy her back.
I'm not suggesting you sell Fanny to Mr. Devitt, Sir Harry. I'm assuming you want to give it to him. As a wedding present.
It's blackmail. I won't do it.
Oh, but you will, Sir Harry. Society may condone your sharp practices in the business world, but never forgive you for cheating at cards.
Very well. You win, Mr. Holmes.
And you will, of course, give up the cards.
If you insist. I don't suppose you could have one last game. I can enjoy having you as opponent.
You only think so, Sir Harry. No one ever wins. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I must say this is most undignified, Holmes. Two of us on one horse.
Well, I thought we ought to escort Fanny safely back to Mr. Devitt. I should have thought, after all the peddling you did yesterday, riding pillion would be a relief.
No, there's one thing about this whole affair I still don't understand, Holmes. It's the business about the knave of diamonds.
The combination of the queen of spades and the jack of diamonds rates rather high in the game of physique. Sir Harry won Fanny from her owner by a double physique, which is both spade queens and diamond knaves. Rather rare and counts 500 points.
Hello, what's wrong with the animal?
Fanny's just realized she's headed for home. Hold on, Watson. She wants to go.
Well, that was certainly an active adventure for you and Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson.
It was indeed, Mr. Harris. I was saddle sore for a week afterwards. I never knew whether to blame Fanny or the confounded practice.
And now, how about giving us a hint about next week's adventure?
Next week? Oh, yes, next week. Suppose I tell you how I developed a violent dislike of the savage. And I had a personal encounter with arch enemy Professor Moriarty, in which I flatter myself I came off rather well. I call it the adventure of the sinister fate of savage.
The makers of Clippercraft clothes and 1,036 leading stores from coast to coast have brought you another in the new series of broadcasts featuring the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. Our stories are based upon the character Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes is played by John Stanton, Dr. Watson by Alfred Shirley, and the dramatizations are by Edith Meiser. Sherlock Holmes is produced and directed by Basil Lockman, with special music by Albert Berber. If you don't know your Clippercraft dealer, write Clippercraft, 200 Fifth Avenue, New York City. Be sure to listen next Sunday to Sherlock Holmes in The Adventure of the Sinister Crate of Cabbages. This is Harris speaking for Clippercraft Clothes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
In just 25 seconds, you'll hear Melvin Elliott's news report.
Welcome back. Well, this was an episode it probably didn't take Sherlock Holmes to solve. I think there were a lot of clues as to who did it with what we had learned about the man who was targeted by Jack-o'-lantern, such as his proclivity for cards and his reaction to the Jack of Diamonds itself. However, what this episode does portray is that in several cases, Sherlock Holmes approached the case with his own particular sense of justice, and rather than involving the official police, kind of enforced his own solution. And I think this is definitely something believable that Holmes would do in this particular case. So other than the mystery being a little simple, I thought this was pretty well done. I hope that you enjoyed it. And that is actually the last of the John Stanley episodes not in circulation. The only episode missing from the 1945 to 48 run is a Tom Conway episode, which I think was from the New Year's week era. So who knows, maybe that will emerge. But it's always fun to have a visit with Sherlock Holmes. Now we turn to listener comments and feedback. Angie writes, I'm enjoying the great shows. Do you have access to Mike Barnett with 2 T's starring Ralph Bellamy? One of those I remember. My best, Angie. Angie, I know what you're talking about, and I believe you're talking about Man Against Crime, also known as Follow That Man, which starred Ralph Bellamy as Mike Barnett. And that was a TV show, most of which is in the public domain, and I really do enjoy the TV series. It's one of those great, well, not great, but really fun early 1950s detective TV shows, which really feel like natural successors to the old-time radio programs. But there wasn't a old-time radio program with Mike Bellamy playing a detective, as far as I can tell, because in addition to playing Mike Barnett on television, Ralph Bellamy also played Ellery Queen in several movies on the silver screen. So I think he would have been a really good radio detective. And I don't know why it didn't happen, but I would definitely love that if that had occurred somehow, but I'm not aware of any episodes. All of the stuff that he was in, when I checked through the Radio Gold Index, which indexes, various radio stars, just shows a, wide variety of different dramatic and comedic programs. As for the TV shows, we do try to have them tie in for public domain video theater in some way to what we're doing with the radio programs. And if we can't find something that ties in, we've been going to Sherlock Holmes as a default. Until we get through that series, and we're only, I think, 3 or 4 episodes into that. But I'll keep that in mind. Man Against Crime, Follow That Man, which is the syndicated title, whichever one you want to call it. It was a really good show. And thanks so much for mentioning it, Angie. Lou sends along just a great keep it up note. And Gary sends a note, I enjoy the podcast. Well, thank you so much for your encouragement and your support of the program. And I do want to let listeners know you can send along a donation to support.greatdetectives.net and other options that are listed there. And if you do send in a donation of $25 or more, I'll happily send you one of the Colonial Radio Theater audio dramas. There are some great ones in the mystery genre, including several sets of Father Brown, several Perry Mason adaptations, as well as some great adventure stories, including King Solomon's Mines and Zorro. A full list of available thank you gifts are at support.greatdetectives.net. I want to go ahead and thank our Patreon supporter of the day. I want to thank Neil. Neil's been one of our Patreon supporters since September 2016, currently supporting us at the Shamus level of $4 or more per month. Thanks so much for your support, Neil. Well, that will wrap up today's episode. Join us back here tomorrow for yours truly, Johnny Dollar. And next Wednesday and Thursday, be sure and listen for the premiere of The Man Called X and Raffles. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and become one of our friends on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Detectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.